It is Bronze and Modern Gods. I'm John.
I'm Richard.
How is everybody doing? Look at that clickbaity thumbnail. Oh, it's true, though. We'll get to that in a second. Just want to tell you, follow us on Facebook and Instagram, Bronze and Modern Gods. Like this video, hit subscribe. We've got the return of viewer mail today. Speaking of returns, the return of the Instagram Market Watch with Ali.
Yay.
Yes, from Elite_Comics11. But before we get going, we want to welcome a new sponsor to the show. Richard, it's no secret we're getting older, right?
You are.
Well, hey, I know how old you are, mister. And thanks to the magic of Google Analytics, I know how old our audience is, too. So this is going to be very relevant, I think. Recent studies have shown men's testosterone levels are dropping substantially since the 1980s. Isn't that weird? About an average of 1% a year?
Yeah, think about it. If your father was 30 years old when you were born, you would have 30% lower testosterone than he had.
Ooh.
Low testosterone can have all kinds of health effects on men as well. It can cause you to lose muscle mass in your body, can affect your mood, your memory, even your sex drive.
I know, and it can even cause depression in some people. And low testosterone is more common the older you get, but it can affect men of any age, though. So we're here to talk about today's sponsor, Let's Get Checked. They are a worldwide leader in home health tests, and with their male hormone tests and home sample collection, it's never been easier to check your testosterone levels at home.
Yeah, you can order a testing kit that will be delivered to you in discreet packaging. Once your sample arrives at the laboratory, confidential results will be available for you in your secure online account within 2 to 5 days. These results are reviewed by a clinician, and a member of the Let's Get Checked nursing team may call you with the results.
Let's Get Checked laboratories are CLIA approved and CAP accredited. It's a fancy way of saying those are the highest ranks of accreditation. So if you want to test your testosterone levels without having to leave your home, visit trylgc.com/bronze and get 25% off your test with our promo code BRONZE25. All this is linked in the description as well, so you don't have to memorize it. But in case you're that kind of person, you want to visit trylgc.com/bronze and use promo code BRONZE25, and let's get checked. Okay, we're back. And to the point of this thumbnail, I am disappointed in most of you out there that subscribe. We have almost 5,000 subscribers. Our videos average after a week anywhere from between 1,500 views to 3,000 or 4,000 views, which is pretty good. We've gotten a lot of traction and the algorithm likes us. But then this week, the Paul Levitz interview, the president and publisher of DC Comics for years, a man who spent decades there, has great stories. We don't even crack 1,000 views. And I just can't help but look at other people that are posting about friggin' NYCC fist fights and Peach Momoko and blah, blah, blah. I'm disappointed in all of you. I'm disappointed in myself. Was the thumbnail bad? You know, did I have not a good clickbaity headline, Richard? Should I be upset?
No, I think controversy sells. People enjoy controversy, and the Paul Levitz interview was a lot of information about a person that some people probably didn't know off the top of their head. But once he was identified as the president of DC Comics, for goodness sake, and he had a lot of inside things to tell that there are no other sources to, besides him. So
if you guys haven't watched this interview yet, go back and watch it. It's great. I mean, to find out, maybe it's just me. Maybe I have this mind for minutia, but to find out that Jem, Son of Saturn, was the lowest selling DC comic in history on the newsstands, and that 91% of its print run was returned. To me, that's endlessly fascinating. So
91%.
90. It sold through 9%. Isn't that great? That's the kind of honesty you're going to get from this interview with Paul. If you guys have not watched it, please go back and watch it. And maybe I won't be so ashamed and disappointed of you. I'm not ashamed. I'm bummed out. I was really excited to share that with you guys, and hopefully it'll get some traction. And let's just move on, Richard, to our hot book of the week. Something that Paul mentioned in our interview on Monday, that he went to see the premiere of a movie that's premiering this week.
Yes, our hot book this week is Shazam number 28 from 1977. It's the second appearance of Black Adam. His first appearance is in Marvel Family Comics #1, a Golden Age book, a very expensive book. The Black Adam movie, like John said, is released this week, and it stars Dwayne Johnson, and he has been campaigning for this role for a long time. All the stars aligned finally. This has been in production for a long time. It actually got extended last year to this fall, and this is a movie I am really looking forward to because I feel that Dwayne Johnson as Black Adam is redefining the, as he says, the hierarchy of the DC universe. He is putting himself in Black Adam in direct competition with Superman, and I think we're going to see um, a lot of Black Adam in future DC properties, and I think that's a good thing. It's an exciting thing. It adds, it adds a new wrinkle to the DC Holy Trinity. Here's a new villain who's intelligent and as charismatic as Superman, and I think it's going to be an amazing thing.
So, are you worried about the Rotten Tomatoes score?
Yeah, I heard it's 50%, which is never a good thing.
Never a good thing.
I don't know. I think it's still too early. Yeah, so we're recording this early, so I'm going to go in and see this movie as soon as I can. Um, from some of the reviews that I've heard, I saw some stuff on YouTube. They say it's a Dwayne Johnson movie. So the things you expect in a Dwayne Johnson movie, which is a lot of explosions, a lot of close-ups of The Rock, a lot of situations The Rock can get himself out of. That's fine. I mean, it's supposed to be an entertaining movie. It does not need to be earth-shattering. It just needs to establish the character, be entertaining, and have people come back for more. And I think if it accomplishes that, then we will see a matchup between Superman and Black Adam sometime in the near future. And I would really, really want to see that.
A lot of long, lingering close-ups of Black Adam down.
His chiseled jaw. Yeah, we're gonna see a lot of that.
We got lost there for a second. Back to Shazam 28. The GPA for a CGC 9.8. It's a buyer's market, Richard. Yeah. $3,400. That is down from an all-time high of $6,000 last year. It's lost almost half its value, which is.
But, the high price was back in 2021. And the market, I believe, was artificially inflated at that point because of a number of factors. I think the price that $3,400 is a fair price for this book, and I think it will increase from here based on the performance of this the new movie. But I think $3,400 is a fair price for this book now.
A good foreshadowing for the Instagram Market Watch later this episode, where we talk about market corrections, is how we're looking at it. I think, well, I won't spoil it. We'll get to that in a few minutes after we get to our main topic, which is viewer mail.
You've got mail.
Richard, start us off, please.
My first piece of viewer mail is from Jim
Wotan. Maybe it's Wotan. I'm going to guess Wotan. Let's go ahead. Sorry, Rich. Sorry, Jim.
So nice to hear you. So nice to hear Jim Shooter get positive recognition. Great interview, guys. Yeah, I know there is a lot of let's call it negative feelings towards Jim Shooter in the hobby, but me, I would love to have him on an interview. I love to hear, he's one of those characters that has so much experience in the crafting of the comics in that, I don't want to call it golden age, but the high sale period of comic.
Well, I see what you're saying. I mean, think about it. When he was there in the 80s, I mean, that was Marvel at its sales peak. Whether you liked Secret Wars or not, it was the highest selling comic of that time. And then you had John Byrne on Fantastic Four, Roger Stern on Avengers. I mean, so many great creative teams.
I liked Secret War. Secret War was a great story for me. So yeah, I would love, like I said, I would love to interview him, talk about his experiences in the Marvel universe. I think would be some real insightful things.
I would love to have Jim Shooter on. So fingers crossed. You guys have to watch it though. My first piece of viewer mail is coming to us from our Instagram account at Bronze and Modern Gods from our good friend Zach Duncan. Zach writes, should the shop or the customer do the page counts on comics? All comics? Only expensive books? Old books? A shop I buy about a short box of old books a month from recently told me it's tough linkies if I get a book with missing pages, and I should count them myself before I leave the store. That would be like an extra 200 minutes every visit. Zach, should the customer or the store owner count the pages before making a purchase? The answer is yes. Um, that's a flip quick answer. I think it's kind of impossible for a comic book shop owner to count the pages of every book that comes through. Um, that's not realistic. I think you know that yourself because you're saying it would take you an extra 200 minutes every visit. The problem here is not that the shop owner missed something or that you missed something. The problem here is that the shop owner told you to go pound sand when you pointed it out to him. That's not a good shop owner. That's not someone I would be continuing to buy books from. If a page is missing, a coupon's cut out, it was not disclosed at the time of purchase, and I brought it back, you're going to give me a refund and take the book back, or you're going to offer me a partial refund and let me keep the book. Or if you're really a good shop owner, and I've had this happen to me before, you're going to go, oh my God, John, you're such a good customer. Keep it. Here's your money back. I don't keep the money. But I'll keep the book. It's kind of incumbent upon you too, Zach, a little bit. If it's an expensive book, if you're buying an Avengers 4, you better believe you should be counting all 32 of those pages. If you're buying a Hulk 181, you flip right to that letters page and look at that Marvel value stamp.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's income a little bit of column A and a lot from column B. It's really on you. You've got to, if you're, it's your money, but I do think the real issue here is a return policy. If the shop owner doesn't have a good return policy, he's not a shop I would frequent.
I 100% agree with you. If it's an expensive book, it's think about who's going to be harmed the most if there's an issue, and it's going to be you.
Yeah.
So uh, make sure you take an opportunity to take the book before you buy it. Take it out of the bag, count the pages, check the centerfold for rust on the staples, all the things that you want to do before you plunk down your hard-earned money. Make sure the book is of a quality that you can count on, because after the fact is not the time to try to figure out how to resolve the issue.
And I'm absolutely guilty of this too, Zach. I can't tell you how many times still I'll buy the book through the bag. It's like a $6 book. Okay, fine. I won't even, look at it. And then I get it home and it's all bent up and you can't really see all the non-color breaking bends through the bag, or there's a big stain on the back cover because I didn't bother to look at the back cover. So, it happens.
Yeah. Sometimes you get a surprise though, and it's a Mark Jewelers book. I've had that happen too.
Or two of them for a key, which I'll share with you later on, Richard. It was really good fun. What's your next piece of your mail?
My next piece is from Mark Robinson. This is in regards to our interview last week. I'd never heard of this guy, but I'm certainly glad you brought him to my attention. There are many great moments in this video, but my favorite part is how carefully he worded Stan's contributions to the creation of Marvel's core characters while simultaneously being humble about his own contribution. It really hit me because I just finished watching this great series on Jack Kirby, and it broke my heart. It was like watching the Bill Finger documentary all over again. Yeah, it's he was definitely being humble. Stan obviously is the pantheon when it comes to Marvel Comics. He and Jack, I think, are the pivotal characters, or the pivotal creators of so much of what we look at as the Marvel universe. and he had his role in it, and he's proud of his role in it. Um, but yeah, he definitely calls out Stan Lee's contributions, and it's only due.
Well,
Um,
but do you understand what Mark's saying though here? Contributions is in air quotes, and I
mhm.
agree with Mark. And what Paul was intimating was, what were Stan's real contributions here versus Jack and Steve Ditko? You know, did Stan create the Fantastic Four?
How many times do you see story Jim by Stan Lee
Right.
throughout those early books?
But do you know the history though? You know, Jack created the Challengers of the Unknown at DC, four adventurers that go up in a plane and then they crash land. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
You
you're
see what I'm
calling,
saying? It's
yeah.
wink Stan's contributions, wink, wink. Uh, and this is an age-old debate.
Mhm.
Who did what? Who was responsible for what at the end? You've got some people that are fierce, 100% Kirby and Ditko did everything. Stan did nothing but claim credit because he was the publisher's nephew, or however he was related to Martin Goodman. And then you have people on the other end that Stan's great. Stan, there's a typed synopsis for Fantastic Four #1 that Stan Lee found in a desk drawer one time and gave to Roy Thomas. Then you've got people like me. Yeah, it was a team, Stan or Jack may have come up with the initial concept, but Jack added his finesse, Stan added his finesse for dialogue and situations. So it's so murky and so cloudy and so full of minds, this field. Uh,
Right. But I
so
don't think you could have the Marvel um, experience without Stan's contributions, and just like you couldn't have it, as you said, you couldn't have it without Kirby's, and
agree.
Steve Ditko definitely was a part of that magic, and it took all of them to be able to make more than just one story. I mean, I could see an individual being responsibility for just the Fantastic Four, but it took all of them to also do Spider-Man and all those other early characters, the Avengers. Um, so without that magic that really was an effect in those early days, I don't think Marvel as an entity would be what it is today.
Do you think the Beatles would have been the Beatles without Ringo? And I use that analogy because, nobody thinks of Ringo as being a linchpin in the
Mhm,
Beatles, but he really is. I mean, they
mhm.
had Pete Best and they didn't, succeed, and then Ringo comes along and it's the
Right.
missing piece. It's that lightning in a bottle.
It is.
Um,
It is.
and you just can't duplicate chemistry like that. It just happens. And unfortunately, this is all happened in a time where things weren't documented well, and this was a disposable medium and no one really gave a crap. And so it's one man's memory, one man's faulty memory versus another man's faulty memory. So and they're
Right.
both gone now, so it's one of those things. My next piece of your email is from Robert Houchins from Instagram, who writes, "Hi there, love the show. It takes me back to my younger comic shop days, learning new stuff from the comic guys that always hung around." Oh, I guess that's us. Um, Quick question about the cover art craze. Looking at you, Richard Brown. Jumped back into the comic world last year after taking a 20-year break. I noticed the recent trend of collecting comics based on the cover, whether it's for the artist or the variant craze. Do you think this is a good or bad thing for the hobby? I love collecting books by certain artists, but only for their cover art. I collect mainly for the art aspect, but I miss the days when all of the artwork, cover and guts, were done by one fantastic artist. I guess this is more of a long rant, just seeking some other opinions. Take care. Robert, thank you very much. First off, yes, I do miss the days of a complete package being done by the complete creative team.
Mhm.
Um, I'm trying to think of a really good example that because the first thing that came to mind was like when you had a Herb Trippy Hulk book and it had a Herb Trippy cover. Yeah, great. Uh, But but yeah, exactly. You also had mediocrity in those aspects. Okay, John Byrne and Terry Austin. They're doing the inside of Uncanny X-Men. They're doing the covers too,
Perfect example. Yeah.
but they didn't always Dave Cockrum would do the covers here and there,
Uh-huh.
especially in the early days. Robert, remember people in the 70s and 60s collected Neil Adams covers, and you'd open it up and it'd be like Mike Sikowski art inside or something? So collecting for the cover art is not new. It may seem more pronounced now, but it's not a new thing.
Yeah, I agree. I am a fan of collecting covers, and I collect covers from specific artists as well. I am a huge Art Adams fan, for example. So if there's an Art Adams cover or variant for something, I'll more than likely buy it because I like it. I think also the fact that comics are graded more nowadays has an effect on this because a graded comic, all you get to see is the cover art. You don't get to see the interior art once that book is graded.
They
So
are
that's what you judge it by.
Yeah, they're entombed at this point.
They are entombed, right? So you miss all on that interior art. Um, I don't think there's whether it's damaging to the collecting hobby. I don't think so. People collect for different reasons, and if it's a reason for people to go out and buy books, it's a great thing for the hobby. You may prefer to buy books based on the story or the writer or the interior art, but there are a lot of people out there who like the cover art, and Marvel takes advantage of this, as does DC, by producing a series of variant covers for a particular issue. You can have up to 80, 90 different covers for, Amazing Spider-Man 900 is the most recent example I can think of. And there's nothing wrong with having a variety. You will typically find someone will gravitate to each one of those covers, and it satisfies their desire for collecting, and I think that's a great thing.
Robert, the important thing here is that you are back. You're back in
Yes,
the hobby,
welcome back.
and we're welcome back, and you're here with us, and those are the two important things. So don't stress too much about the loss of having a creative team do the covers too. It's kind of a rarity now, unfortunately. What's your next piece, Richard?
My next piece is from Mark Hodges. Very interesting interview.
Go back and watch it, everybody.
And I love Richard's t-shirt. Very good catch, Mark. I wore a Forbidden Planet t-shirt last week that my wife got me while she was in Scotland. And I forgot to say something about it at the beginning of the show. But yeah,
Shout out to Andrew Sumner. Thank you.
yes. Great catch. I love the shirt, and Fantastic Planet is definitely a place I want to visit when I'm in the UK next.
All right. My last piece of viewer mail is in reference to one of my underrated books of the week from a couple weeks ago, Lil Kids number 10, featuring Calvin, drawn by an artist named Kevin Banks. That just doesn't seem to be a lot of information about this book, why it was done, who this Kevin Banks was out there on the internet. And so Gummy K Collectibles wrote in, ask Jim Salicrup about Kevin Banks. And that is a great idea. Jim Salicrup was on Marvel's staff at the time. He may have been more involved in this than Roy Thomas. So I'm going to try to find Mr. Salicrup. Luckily, I know two people that know him. Shout out to Tim and Sandy, to listeners and friends of the show. And we're going to get to the bottom of this Kevin Banks, Lil Kids number 10 through 12 mystery. Stay tuned. Gosh, can you imagine? That book was published in 1973. Next year, it will be 50 years old. Divided by 2, it's the 25-year-old. Hey, there you go.
Okay.
25-year rule this week. We're going to go back to 1997 and talk about the Devil Dinosaur Spring Fling number 1. What? Richard, take 3 guesses why this book was published.
Maintaining IP.
You guessed it right on the first try. Another adventure in trademark preservation comics, as Devil Dinosaur gets an all-new one-shot in 1997, nearly 20 years after his last issue was published in 1978, which made me think, is there maybe there still is, but was there in the 90s some strict trademark law that you had to use the character on a cover within 20 years to keep the
Oh.
trademark? 'Cause they published this right under the wire for 20 years, which was
Mhm.
really interesting. I couldn't help but note that. This book is this book. It's 3 new stories of Devil Dinosaur and Moon Boy. What was great about it, because I actually have a copy of this and I was flipping through it. One has art by Arnold Pander. Richard, remember the Pander brothers?
No, no, I don't.
They drew Grendel, the Christine Spar arc of Grendel when
Oh,
Grendel
okay.
first got its first ongoing series, and it was this really stylized Nagel
Oh, I
type.
remember that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
okay.
Pander brothers, and I can't, every time I saw Ian Flux, I
Yeah.
thought, "They're ripping off the Pander brothers." And I wonder if the Pander brothers had anything to do with Ian Flux. Boy, I wish there was some sort of website where I could Google that. Um,
Question.
as far as Devil Dinosaur Spring Fling #1, raw copies of this book sell for $4 to $8 on eBay. But a CGC 9.8 sold last month with a best offer accepted for $90. They were asking $175, and
Hmm.
through our tech wizardry, we can see that they actually accepted an offer for $90. That's a low ball offer to get
Yeah,
accepted.
really.
But I'm shocked that this book commands $90 in a 9.8, apparently, to one person out there. I love Devil Dinosaur. The Jack Kirby creation. People are like, it's like a kid's book. Yes, people, it was created for a springboard for a Saturday morning TV series. So yes, it was aimed at kids. But boy, at the time, people were really angry about that book. Why is Jack Kirby doing this stupid kids title instead of drawing Fantastic Four with Stanley writing it right now?
They
Uh,
didn't have any problems with Commandy, but they had
no,
problems.
because Commandy was taken seriously, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Because it was there were deadly stakes where devil dinosaurs running around fighting tree people and witches and stuff. I don't know. I thought it was very much like Commandy too, but what are you gonna do? Hey, guess who's back? Back in again. Guess who's back? Tell a friend. It's Ali from Elite_Comics 11 with the return of the Instagram Market Watch. Richard, is your pizza here? I think you have to disappear for a few minutes.
Oh, sorry. I'll be right back.
Well, hello, stranger.
Hey, stranger. It's been a while.
It's been a while. Here we are back with, I'm just going to say it, the first Instagram Market Watch on YouTube. How you been, Ali?
I've been great. Been staying busy on Elite Comics 11. We've been all over the place. We've been doing our almost daily live sales, our page, and just got back from New York Comic Con. And before that, I saw you in San Diego. So
For people that don't remember, tell them a little bit about Elite Comics 11 and what you do.
Elite Comics 11 is the premier consignment page on Instagram. So check us out on Instagram. It's Elite_Comics 11. We help people buy books and sell books as well. You got something to sell? Definitely able to help you with that.
I can I can do a little testimonial for you. How's that?
All right.
I have an amazing Spider-Man 194 first appearance of the Black Cat 9.8 white pager. I know it was off white to white, I think. Oh, who cares? It's still 9.8. And I had it, and I put it up a couple times at a few live sales that I did myself. And then I thought, you know what? I'm gonna experiment with Ali and Elite, and I put it up there, and it sold like what, 2 days, 3 days?
Happens quick. We're the biggest comic sales page on Instagram. So 32. We actually just hit 32,000 followers. So things tend to happen quickly on the page. So thank you very much to the community that supports us.
All right. Well, let's talk about 4 biggies this week. I'm seeing this first one. Todd, the toddler, the Todd father, whatever you want to call him. He's just undeniable.
Right. So Todd's just the 90s, and he's not done with his story yet. So still very relevant. So Spawn 1, we saw the news, right? I think that dropped at New York Comic Con. Movie back on track. So it's no secret. Spawn #1, mass-produced book. There's a ton of copies, right? So
1.7 million.
Yeah, tons. But here we have, and now we're going to run into some interesting issues. We got a Spawn 1 in a 9.9 CGC grade. So, there's people on either side of the fence there. But when you have a really relevant property like Spawn that's only going to get more relevant, and then you have it's a mass-produced book, people are always trying to get the one, something that's the scarce version of it. We've never had we've listed thousands of books. I think this is the first 9.9 Spawn 1 we've ever seen. I know there's more out there, but they're not easy to come by. And so one came up, $4,899 is what it sold for through our page. So yeah, thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's a great price. I think when you look at the 12-month GPA, 5,648. So you're looking at a little bit of almost a $700 savings there. It's this market right now. I think if you're a buyer, man, this is like candy.
Oh, we're gonna get into that. That's gonna be the theme of today, I think, for the most part. There's some good deals to be had out there. If you want to jump back in, take advantage of some dip, that's definitely a theme today.
This next book, Bronze Age Beauty, Marvel horror, a classic, and just the grade is amazing.
Yeah. So this is a 9.8. We'll move on from the 9.9s, but a 9.8 still pretty impressive, right? Yes. 9.8, white page, Neil Adams, iconic cover, first appearance of Dracula. I know there's a lot of people out there that love that one shot, that werewolf one shot, excited to see the horror elements come into the MCU. Well, this is a hell of a one to have. Have you guys been talking about the casting rumors here that we haven't quite got yet, I believe? But...
No, well, first of all, we're talking, if you're listening to the audio podcast, Tomb of Dracula #1. It's a CGC 9.8 white pages. The only casting we were talking about was Jamie Foxx as Spawn. Come on. Isn't he?
I saw Jamie Foxx is Spawn. But for Tomb of Dracula 1, 9.8, I actually saw there was some casting rumors floating around. I won't repeat them because it never came true at San Diego, but I know people are expecting Dracula to get cast soon.
Wait, let me guess. Mephisto's going to be in it.
I saw something on that today. Be careful. Check your sources. That's all I got to say.
What did this bad boy go for?
$10,800 on this Tomb of Dracula 1 9.8 with white pages.
I've never physically seen a 9.8 Tomb of Dracula #1 in front of me. The 12-month GPA on this is $11,280. So again, it's the dip. It's not as pronounced as the last one, but it's still down. And it sounds weird to say that we're down, but things were just so crazy. I call it a correction.
Yeah, no, things were crazy. And newsflash, things can't go up 20% every 2 months forever. Otherwise we can all live on that beach in Hawaii and not have to work, right?
Exactly. I wish Richard was here for this next one because this is all him.
All right, Ultimate Fallout 4. This is a CGC 9.6. This is a Jurjevic variant.
You got it. You got it.
This is the first appearance of Miles Morales. This is another book that there's a lot of copies out there of the regular version, the cover A, and then you got the variant, and then you do have that newsstand variant that Richard always talks about.
He's got one.
So this is the more predictable and well-known exclusive version of this book. So we know about, the character, we know about the dynamics of the character, how that's definitely relevant and going to become more relevant. Miles is very untapped, but we do have this dip. These have sold for way more than this. So I thought it was a great buy here. This 9.6 sold for it was $8,400 on this, $8,400, and you know, I think it's at some point you're seeing the resistance. Like the book was dropping for a moment, people are picking them up now. I know Richard's all about that newsstand variant. It's very rare. It's almost in some ways too rare because when they come up, people don't know what they're worth, kind of thing. So
yeah,
this is a great version of this book to pick up.
GPA 12-month GPA average on this is 9,924, so it's down a little bit. Hasn't stopped the 9.8, just had a sale for 40K on a 9.8 elsewhere. But you know, if you are wanting this book, this may be the only time you're going to get it at a discount.
Yeah, I mean, I can't disagree with that. This definitely has a future. You know, as far as if we know anything, we know that Miles isn't going anywhere. We're gonna be hearing a lot more about Miles. So
this next one, I think's got a future. This kid may be going somewhere. It's you know, something that doesn't have a lot of traction right now. That's Amazing Fantasy 15. Tell us about it.
Yeah, this is Amazing Fantasy 15 for Spider-Man CGC 3.0 with white pages.
Crazy white pages.
The white pages there definitely commands a premium in Silver Age books. Don't let people tell you otherwise. But here, again, buying the dip, $27,750 is what this one sold for on Elite Comics 11. I mean, you know, you don't need to talk about how popular Spider-Man is. People know that. This is an incredible book. It's an amazing book to pick up.
Wink, wink.
You know, and this, I mean, you know, buying the dip. I mean, a 3.0 for $27,750 with the white pages. I thought it was a great buy. I know, you know, this book has been all over the place, and it's been a lot higher. So, you know, when is a good time to get back into it? I'll leave that for others to figure out, but I thought this was a nice price.
Longtime listeners know of Richard's quest to get a low grade Amazing Fantasy 15, and he's been saving up and selling books in order to finance this, and he got enough money to get like what he thought at the time was going to be a 1.0 or maybe a 1.8, and he ended up paying off all his credit card debt instead, so he gets a big pat on the back for that. But now this 3.0 comes up for $27,750. It's a good thing Richard's not here because we might hear a gunshot off screen.
Oh, no. It'll be all right. There's plenty of them. It's more of a you know, nice book to have. I mean, I'm a huge fan of the book. It's just mostly just watching these prices kind of come down a bit and kind of looking at the points of resistance. This one was a quick sale. It did not take long at all. It sold the same. I mean, it sold within a few hours. So.
I would imagine it would go very quickly because the 12-month GPA on an Amazing Fantasy 15 and 3.0 is $43,344. So, yeah, 15K plus reduction on that price.
Book's been jumping around though at different grades. It's been jumping around a lot. So you that's the other thing. If you're looking at GPA, just kind of PSA, you should look across the grades also to kind of see what else is going on. That's definitely good to take into account.
I just, you know, that an Amazing Fantasy 15 can be had in a 3.0 for less than 30K right now is just, if I had the fun money, I'd be like, screw stocks. I'm going to buy a bunch of AF-15s.
Yep.
All right.
No, I mean, that's totally reasonable. So.
Something else is coming up. It's time for AtCon again, is it not?
It is time for AtCon. So we just announced AtCon. That is Elite Comics 11's virtual comic convention. Also the original on Instagram. It's a massive virtual convention. It's going to be, 5 days of live stream comic sales. It's the biggest live stream comic event ever. I mean, we know that. I mean, it's definitely the social media comic event of 2022. So you get 5 days of live stream sales, special guests. We're going to give away thousands of dollars in daily giveaways, different giveaways for each day. We got CGC, Vivi, Dig Auctions on as elite sponsors. Other sponsors to be announced, including Bronze and Modern Gods. You guys are what's that?
Don't tell anybody.
We appreciate the support, and just if you guys just look forward to it. It's November 2nd through 6th, and it's just follow elite_comics11 on Instagram to watch it all, get all the latest news, and the full schedule's coming. It's just something to look forward to. We're going to bring tens of thousands of people together on the page. It's always a great time. This will be our 7th AtCon.
But yeah, it's always fun. Even if you don't buy anything, it's just great to come and hang out and see everybody. And you get to know people on this in the chat and on the screen. And it really is a community. I know that word's overused to the point of being a cliche now, but it really is.
Well, if you tune in for this, you're going to see a community in action. You're going to see literally there's going to be tens of thousands of people coming together from all over the globe. You'll be seeing what I'm talking about. There's huge announcements that are coming. It's really going to be, we are going to reset our own bar. We've set the bar on virtual comic conventions. We're going to reset that bar higher. We're going to break our own records.
Awesome. So November 2nd through 6th, we'll update you here as well. So everybody say bye to Ali again. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks as always. Good to see you guys.
We're going to try to do this every other week now.
That's right.
Oh, Richard, you're back from your pizza delivery. Was it a real pizza delivery, or was it like a pizza delivery?
I'm married, so it was a real pizza delivery.
Oh, okay. You missed the Amazing Fantasy 15 sale for.
Oh yeah. We talked a bit. Yeah. I can't say that I missed it, Bob.
Okay.
No, it's great that book is still affordable. Like that's affordable.
Comparatively so.
Yeah. Now's a good time if you're looking to buy. Now's a good time with the market being in its depressed state.
It's so interesting.
Take advantage of it.
All right, let's move on to our underrated books of the week. Richard, hit it.
Yeah, my pick for this week is Justice League Dark #1. Specifically, I'm going to pick the second print, and this is back in 2011. It's the first appearance of the Justice League Dark, which is a team of magic, mystical oriented characters. I guess the Empress beat the original Justice League team. So this team was formed to be kind of a mystical foil for those types of villains. And we had all kinds of really cool members like John Constantine, Zatanna, Swamp Thing, Deadman, Shade, the Changing Man, Dr. Fate, even Wonder Woman was on a later incarnation of this.
Not only Wonder Woman joined later, but our favorite Blue Devil ends up on the team.
Yeah, it's a great group of characters. This is some cool characters you wouldn't normally think as being a part of the Justice League. So this is a great team in my opinion. It's a great team to spec on too. There have been rumors circulating for the past couple of years about Justice League Dark. Them forming it. Got John Constantine coming back to the silver screen. Zatanna is coming. So there's Dr. Fate is in the new Black Adam movie. So I'm not claiming anything, but it's still a reasonable thing to spec on. The first print had 6,100 copies printed, according to Comicron. The second print only had about 12,000, so it's definitely a smaller print.
Is there a difference on the cover, like a different logo? Or?
It's DC's typical. Let's make the second print red.
Okay.
Has a reddish color to it, based instead of the original color on the first print.
Got it.
The GPA for the first print, 9.8, you can pick up for $290. There is no 9.8 of the second print because there's only one second print on the census out of 14 books on the census. The first print, there are 140 9.8s versus 460 total on the census. There is a 9.6 second print that sold for about $100 versus $90 for the first print. as a 9.6. So it's just still affordable, and it's a great book. I think it's a great story. And I'd buy it raw just so I could read it, because I am a big fan of this direction that DC decided to take the Justice League, taking it a little bit more realistic, a little more grittier than the four color version of the Justice League that's always been around.
Wow, interesting that you picked this with. What was the issue of Swamp Thing Annual number 2? I think is kind of like a prototype for Justice League Dark, because it has a lot of these characters helping Alec find Abby in hell. Remember that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
probably another one to look out for.
Oh,
But
that's a great one.
yeah, but the second print is interesting because I picked a second print today as well.
Oh,
Dark Horse presents #1, the second print. First off, did you know there was a second print of Dark Horse presents #1?
I did not.
Me neither.
How is it differentiated between the first?
This one actually has 3 printings.
Oh.
Okay. The second print, it's indicated on the indicia inside. It'll say right there, second print. But if you're looking at it from the outside, you can just look at the issue number on the front cover, has a box around it on the second print. And they also moved the price from the right-hand side to the left-hand side, right under the Dark Horse logo. If you don't know what Dark Horse Presents #1 is, it is the first comic book from Dark Horse Comics. It's also the first appearance of Concrete, a character near and dear to Richard's heart and my own, that we keep waiting for some sort of announcement, some sort of option. It would be an amazing TV series.
Oh, it would be.
Yeah, just beautiful, beautiful art and story by Paul Chadwick. The higher grade raws of the second print sell for about $9 on eBay. A CGC 9.6 of the second print sold for $85 last year. So this is another one that's a sleeper that just kind of, I think historically it's an important book, and I think people don't realize there was a second print. The third print came years later, and they called it a commemorative edition, and it has a color border around it, and it says commemorative edition, so it's real easy to spot. But this second print, you should know about it for 2 reasons. #1, if you collect scarcer later printings, here it is. Or if you're looking for a first print, don't be fooled and buy this one and get it home like our friend Zach and wonder why it wasn't identified as a second print on the front.
We need to do an episode where we talk about how to read a UPC code.
Oh yeah,
because there's all kinds of really good information about which print it is in that UPC code.
Problem here is this one doesn't have one.
Yeah.
It was a sales book at the time. But Dark Horse Presents #1. I think first or second print, you can't go wrong if you see it. It's still relatively cheap. I think I found my copy for $3 at Long Beach Comic Con a couple months ago, and I could not pass it up.
I've got one somewhere in my collection as well. Definitely worth picking up. Good pick.
Second print or first print?
First print.
So now you got to find that second print.
Yeah.
That is going to wrap it up for this week. But before we go, I want to remind you guys to go watch that video with Paul Levitz. I'm not letting it go.
It is a good interview.
It's a great interview. It's an hour. It's going to take some time. At least give it a shot. If you don't like it, then fine. But promise me you'll at least try. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Bronze and Modern Gods. And if you like this video, hit like. Sorry about the thumbnail. Sorry about the clickbait. But sometimes I got to do what I got to do. Right, Richard?
Right, John.
All right. We'll catch you guys next time.
Everybody stay safe.